Is it possible to claim God as omnipotence and yet tremble at a notification? Yes. Yes. It's possible, humanly. A human being can't help that, if a human being has not yet discovered the law. But we are not here to be confirmed in our humanness. We are here to discover the one power and to live by it. Now let us for a minute accept this statement. You cannot serve omnipotence and headlines too. The moment a banner across a screen can move your pulse, alter your breath, swing your thought from peace into panic, in that moment you have quietly accepted a second power. No, not in your creed. In practice. In the secret place of reaction, you have enthroned an authority beside God. All right. What is this modern devotion? It looks so innocent. I will just check. One swipe, one refresh, and excuse me, 5 minutes later the heart is tight, the jaw is clenched, the patience with loved ones has thinned to a thread. There isn't anybody within range of my voice who hasn't noticed that subtle agitation after just checking the news. Don't tell me you haven't. You have. We all have. Now, I am not outing you for sin. I am naming a law of consciousness. If your peace can be moved, you have ascribed power to that which moved it. Two powers. A small God in your pocket, conferring headlines with the right to govern your inner weather. What are you really seeking when you seek constant updates? Safety, yes. A sense that by knowing it first, you won't be hurt by it later. Control, of course. That if you catch it in the first hour, you will be spared in the 10th. Righteousness. Oh, that's a subtle one. The thrill of being on the right side of outrage. And belonging. The campfire of the aggrieved, where we are warmed by common enemies. It is all humanness, or getting certainty, getting innocence, getting permission to fear or to despise in the name of virtue. That is the sacrament of the feed, a wafer of fear that tastes like vigilance. Now hear me. The answer is not ignorance. The answer is not denial. We are not called to bury our heads and hum hymns. The promise is freedom, not blindness. Freedom to be informed without being inflamed. To be responsible without being ruled. That freedom does not come by arguing with headlines, nor by swearing off screens for 40 days only to come back hungrier. It comes by restoring first cause, by establishing one power within before you look without. A brief stillness, 2 minutes is enough, becomes the altar on which you return authority to the source. Then the news may pass before your eyes, but it will not pass into your government. Then you can meet the world as a healer, not as a hostage. That is our foundation. One power is enough. Now then, if one power is enough, what is this other thing we have been feeding? Let us translate it into modern language so there is no mystery. On the one hand, God as infinite good, the life and law of your being. On the other, the appearance of an external power called circumstance, economy, politics, disease, violence, collapse. Packaged, polished, and now delivered by an algorithm into the palm of your hand. Two powers in your pocket. That's the picture. And a human being who does not know the law can't help being pulled by it. A human being can't help that. But you are not just a human being. Greater is he that is within you than he that is in the world. Now let us for a minute accept that statement. Here is the daily sacrament. You wake, you reach, you scroll. Without saying it with your lips, you have offered an unconscious prayer. Tell me what is real. And the feed, designed to intensify sensation, answers liturgically. It says, "Be afraid." It says, "Be angry." It says, "Hurry." No, that is not revelation. That is hypnotism. That is not the voice of the shepherd. That is the drum of suggestion. Don't tell me you are only checking what's happening. Your pulse told on you. Your breath reported the truth. In that instant, the heart bowed, not to God, but to a flashing banner named emergency. All right, notice the bait and switch. You say, "I need information." That sounds noble. But underneath is, "I want relief. I want the ache to stop. I want to feel that if I know it, it can't hurt me." You go to the feed as to a fountain, but it is a salt fountain. It offers stimulation and then withdrawal, then stimulation again, a sacrament with no grace in it. You swallow a mouthful of fear and call it vigilance, then you thirst again. That is why 100 updates do not satisfy, because you are not addicted to facts, you are devoted to a feeling, the feeling that an external power can define your inner state. That is idolatry in modern dress. Now you come to the law we have been quoting and living. There are no detached outer effects. All flows forth from consciousness. The outer picture cannot dominate you unless consciousness first agrees to its power. The feed does not feed you until you accept its spoon. A headline is not an injection. It is a suggestion. It can inform, yes. It cannot govern unless you let it. The algorithm can deliver appearances by the thousand. It cannot add 1 cubit to your stature or remove one from your peace without your consent. Don't forget this. Your first reaction may be, "But the world is dangerous. I must be ready." That's not true. Not like that. Not as a worshiper of hazard. Readiness in spirit is not compulsive checking. It is established identity. When God is recognized as the only power, you do not become blind. You become unhypnotized. You can look out without bowing down. But until that recognition dawns, every reach of the hand becomes a tiny genuflection at the altar of fear. And there isn't anybody within range of my voice who cannot feel that truth. News addiction is not a hunger for truth. It is often a disguised devotion to fear. And fear is not your God. One power is enough. Now we come not to a belief, not to a hopeful philosophy, but to a law that operates whether we appeal to it or not. There are no detached outer effects. All flows forth from consciousness. Now let us for a minute accept that statement. Don't argue it yet. Accept it long enough to examine your own day. When your consciousness is saturated with hurry, with dread, with righteous heat, does it not color every perception, every conversation, every decision? Yes, it colors them. And in that coloring is your world. The feed is not merely reporting the world to you. It is shaping a world in you. It stimulates the nervous system, tightens the breath, narrows the attention, until your judgments are made from contraction, your expectancy trained to anticipate the next threat, your sense of safety outsourced to an external bulletin. And the moment expectancy is bent toward hazard, the law goes to work. What you fear, you magnetize. What you worship, you serve. What you practice, you become. You will select, emphasize, and repeat precisely the tones you are tuned to. That is why your feed knows you. It is not a prophet, it is a mirror. All right, follow the loop. A consciousness that trains itself to anticipate danger externalizes more danger. Not necessarily more bombs and earthquakes, but more confirmation, more proofs, more triggers, more conversations that rehearse injury, more decisions made from defense that bear defensive fruit. Then you look again and say, "See, I was right." No, you were consistent. You don't remove evil by staring at it. You don't heal fear by feeding it data. We cannot eliminate evil, but we can transform the material sense which produces the evil. We can refuse to confer power on any appearance, and in that refusal, we break the hypnotism of cause in effect.
But aren't there real events?
I can hear it rising already. Yes. Events appear. Floods happen. Markets swing. Leaders speak foolishly. But your bondage is never to the event. It is to your belief that the event is power. The lion's roar is not what devoured Daniel. It was the belief in the lion's power that would have devoured him, had he carried it into the den. In him innocency was found, and the roar lost its government. Greater is he that is within you than he that is in the world, if you acknowledge it. Now, do not run out to reorganize the algorithm and think you have practiced the law. Curate your feed if you like. Turn off a device if wisdom says so. But understand this. We are not here to manipulate effects. We are here to change the state of consciousness that experiences them as power. Outer reform without inner government is a rearrangement of shadows. Inner government restores first cause. One truth lived is sufficient. I and the Father are one. From that oneness, read, but do not bow. Listen, but do not yield. Act, but not from fear. Then the feed may pass before your eyes without fastening upon your heart, and the world's reports will inform your tasks without installing themselves as your master. Don't forget this. The outer picture cannot dominate you unless consciousness first agrees to its power. Withdraw that agreement, and you have broken the cycle at its root. Now we must come to the heart. Quietly. Honestly. What are you seeking when you seek updates? Don't answer quickly. Don't defend yourself with, "I need to be informed." We will get to that. Now tell me, what do you get from the next update? Safety? Superiority? A reason to hate? Permission to despair? Does it give you a sense that you are not the last to know, therefore not the one left exposed? Does it hand you a weapon to carry into the next conversation, a statistic to win, a headline to shame, a villain to blame? Yes. Often it does. And a human being who believes there are two powers can't help wanting that. A human being can't help that. But you are not merely a human being subject to appearances. Greater is he that is within you, if you acknowledge it. All right. Let us name the getting motive, so it cannot hide in piety. You go to the feed to get certainty, to get leverage, to get the moral high ground, to get a target so your unease can be aimed and discharged, to get relief by calling it vigilance, to get a sense that you are doing something when you are only agitating. You say, "I must be responsible," and underneath it, "I want insurance against surprise." You say, "I am informed," and underneath it, "I am right." It is all humanness or getting, always on the lookout for what we can get, earn, achieve, deserve, win, even if it is only the consolation prize of a fresh reason to resent. Now watch how getting masquerades as virtue. I'm informed quietly becomes, I'm righteous. I'm vigilant drifts into, I'm permitted to be cruel. I'm awake hardens into I'm allowed to withhold love. And what are the fruits? Not peace, not clarity. The fruits are agitation, contempt, and a strangely increasing sense of powerlessness. By their fruits you shall know them. If your watching yields brittleness, you have not been drinking from the fountain of life. You have been sipping fear and calling it wisdom. No, no, fear is not wisdom. Fear is a confession of two powers.
Trace the slope with me and see if this is not so.
Checking, just checking, becomes arguing. Arguing becomes reposting. Reposting becomes doomscrolling. Doomscrolling becomes sleeplessness. Sleeplessness becomes bodily tension. Tension becomes hostility in family life. Hostility in family life becomes spiritual dullness, a gray film over prayer, a tone of irritation over every task. Then, because dullness is painful, you check again to get relief, to get a spark, and the circle closes. There are no detached outer effects. All flows forth from consciousness. Don't forget this. Now then, here is the law beneath the law. Whatever you seek to get from the world, you will serve. If you get your peace from a bulletin can remove it. If you get your innocence from finding a villain, you will need villains to stay clean. If you get your energy from outrage, you will require offenses to feel alive. That is bondage. That is why the algorithm seems to own you. Not because it is power, but because you have asked it to be your supplier. God is the source of my being and the infinity of my being. Since I am one with my source, nothing can be added to me by a headline, and nothing can be taken away. So the remedy is not better headlines. The remedy is the shift from getting to giving. Give up the claim that fear is wisdom. Give up the demand that the world certify your safety before you consent to be at peace. Give the world your established silence before you ask it for an update. Give blessing, not blame, presence, not panic. Begin to approach the stream as a giver, of calm, of prayer, of measured action, and you will find the spell of getting breaking. One power is enough. When you seek God first, the news may inform you, but it cannot tell you who you are, and it cannot command your day. Now we come to the center, the simple center, and we will not make it complicated. God is omnipotence. Not sometimes, not when the polls are favorable, not when markets are calm. God is omnipotence. Therefore, no condition, no party, no market, no crisis, no outbreak, no algorithm has power in and of itself. It may parade with noise and lights. It may trumpet urgency. It may gather a choir to shout its inevitability. But power? No. Power is of God. Now let us for a minute accept that statement. If God is the source of my peace, the feed cannot supply it, and it cannot take it away. If God is the source of my safety, no bulletin can confer it, and no bulletin can cancel it. If God is my light, a headline cannot dim it, a talking head cannot brighten it. Do you see? Source determines governance. If you draw breath from the presence within, the winds without cannot ration your air. What would I ever need of the world to be whole? Nothing. Nothing. Because wholeness is not in the report, it is in the presence. It is not in the applause or the outrage. It is in the life that is your life. All right, you say. But what of compassion, of action, of responsibility? Listen closely. This is not denial. This is not refusal to weep with those who weep or to bind the wound that is in front of you. This is the refusal to crown appearances as law over consciousness. This is the sacred practice of letting spirit be first cause, so that when you act as an instrument, not as an instrument's echo. When the Christ within governs, you may write the letter, make the call, vote, give, stand, yes, all that, but without hate, without weakness, without the fever that confesses a second power.
Greater is he that is within you than he that is in the world. That is not poetry. That is law. The only real power is the Christ consciousness, the awareness of oneness with Source, that does not fear externals and therefore is not hypnotized by them. That consciousness is your refuge and your roadway. It is your health, your supply, your radiance, your word in season. The outer picture may shift, the ticker may whirl, the experts may reverse themselves by noon. But if your center is anchored, you are not a weather vane. You are a lighthouse.
Now tell me, if light is your essence, what can darkness do but make itself seen? If love is your law, what can hatred do but exhaust itself upon your silence? If peace is your inheritance, what can noise do but spend itself in waves that never enter the deep? Don't forget this. One truth, lived, is sufficient. I and the Father are one. Practice that. Establish that. Stand in that. Then the news may inform you, yes, but it cannot govern you. It can pass before your eyes, but it cannot pass into your authority. One power is enough. Return it to the inner source, and you will find that the reins of your day and of your heart are in the hands of God.
Now we come to practice, and we will not make it complicated.
We are not adding another self-help gadget. We are returning to law. First cause governs effect. So we establish first cause before we expose ourselves to reports of effects. 2 minutes is enough, not 10, not 20. 2. Before you look at any news, email, headlines, notifications, 2 minutes of stillness. That is the altar. That is the reset of government. All right. Here is the instruction. Put the device face down. Sit. Any chair will do. Feet on the floor or folded, hands easy in your lap. Let the eyes rest, closed or soft. Breathe naturally. Don't manage the breath. Don't count. Let it come and go as it always has, by grace. Now, inwardly acknowledge one statement of truth. Choose one, not 3, not 7, 1. God is omnipotence. Or, I and the Father are one. Or, Thy grace is sufficient. Let the words be a door. Step through. We are not blanking the mind. We are not forcing peace. We are not bargaining with God. If you calm me, I'll behave. No, no. We are consenting to the presence as the only authority. That is all. Thoughts will present themselves. What if? What then? What next? Let them float like leaves on a stream. Do not follow them. Do not push them away. Return simply to the one truth. God is omnipotence. Or, I and the Father are one. Or, Thy grace is sufficient. Don't forget this. One statement of truth contains all the truth there is in the world, if you will live it. 2 minutes. Watch the second hand if you must. At the bell, you are finished. Not because you have achieved a sensation, but because you have installed government. Now, what are the markers? The body softens. The jaw loosens. The shoulders come down from the ears. The exhale lengthens. Urgency reduces. The inner hand that was clutching begins to open. The sentence, "I must check," becomes, "I may check." That tiny shift from compulsion to permission is not tiny. That is the return of choice. That is the proof that first cause has been reestablished. You will feel a little space in which a decision can be made, and in that space, God governs.
All right, you say. And then? Then, if you still look, you look as a witness, not a worshiper. You say within yourself, "All right, now I can read without being ruled." You let a headline be a report, not a decree. You meet each item with your established oneness, not with borrowed panic. If a clear action rises, write, give, call, prepare. Do it, quietly and completely, without heat. If no action rises, bless it and let it pass. You are not foraging for fear. You are not hunting for offense to stay alive. You are letting information inform, not enthrone. Your first objection will be, "I don't have 2 minutes." That's not true. You gave 20 to scrolling and 5 to recovering from it. 2 minutes you have. Or, "I can't sit still." A human being can't help that until a law is practiced. Practice it. Or, "I tried and felt nothing." We are not after fireworks. We are after government. The seed is in the soil, and the law operates whether the soil feels it or not. Do this before you look. Morning, midday, evening, any time you are about to open the door to the world's reports. 2 minutes. One truth. Consent to the presence. Then proceed, or don't. But if you proceed, proceed as one governed from within. In that rhythm, the spell of urgency is broken. 2 minutes before you look restores God as first cause, and when first cause is God, effects cannot tyrannize. One power is enough. Establish it first, and the day will bear witness. Now, the world does not always knock politely at your planned hour. It bursts in. Midday, mid-task, a troubling headline blooms on the screen. All right. In that very instant, do not hurry past the holy moment. Pause. Feel the tug. There it is. The temptation to accept a second power. Name it quietly. You are a report, not a ruler. Let one breath bear witness. I and the Father are one. Don't forget this. The first second after exposure is the hinge of government. If you yield it to panic, you will read as a worshiper. If you keep it for God, you will read as a healer. Now apply the law we have been quoting. There are no detached outer effects. All flows forth from consciousness. Refuse to let the image manufacture your consciousness. Let consciousness interpret the image. Let the line of type, the picture, the chart, stand where it belongs, as an appearance in your field, never as a cause over your being. Say within, "Power is of God." Let the breath stay soft. Keep the shoulders down. This is not denial. This is placement. When the center is placed, the reading will not displace you. Then replace getting with giving. You are not here to get a thrill, get a target, get fuel for outrage. No, no. Cast your bread upon the waters. Give prayer, not panic. Give quiet witness that one power governs even where appearances shout otherwise. Give compassion without anxiety. Father, reveal thyself here. Give a measured act if it is given to you. Send the note, make the donation, offer the call, prepare the meal, vote when it is time. Do it clean, without heat. And if nothing is given,
Let your gift be silence and blessing. A healer does not perform. A healer abides and then moves. Your objection comes fast. But if I'm calm, I won't act. That's not true. That isn't true for a surgeon, for a pilot, for a firefighter. And it isn't true for you. Calm makes action accurate. Panic makes action performative. Calm listens and hits the target. Panic sprays and prays. Calm completes the email and keeps the heart soft with the child across the table. Panic posts, reposts, and then repents. Which serves your world? Which heals? Now we come to boundaries. Not as austerity, but as the natural housekeeping of a governed life. Turn off push notifications. Omnipotence does not arrive by alert. Keep the phone out of the bedroom. You do not invite a town crier to your pillow. Choose windows to read, perhaps midday and late afternoon, and honor them. Close the app when the body tightens. That is your signal that you are about to make an idol. Place the device outside the room where you pray and where you eat. Altars do not share a table with sirens. These are not rules to make you holy. They are consequences of recognizing one power. Finally, while reading, practice the simple mechanics of non-bowing. Between paragraphs, a gentle exhale. Between stories, one statement of truth. Thy grace is sufficient. Before sharing, wait one breath longer than habit. Ask, what is mine to give? If the answer comes clear, give it. If it does not, be content to let the wave pass. You can read the world's reports without accepting them as power over consciousness. Establish God as cause. Give rather than get, and the headline will find you present, not inflamed, not inert, present as a healer. One power is enough. Now, if you have learned to read without bowing, let us go 1 degree further, because the spell is not only in fear, it is in heat. Outrage feels like energy. It feels like aliveness. It has a bite to it, sharp, clean, decisive. And for a moment, you like that feeling. You like the certainty, the side choosing, the flash of being right. All right, call it what it is, a stimulant, another sacrament without grace. The rush of being right is still bondage to externals. It is still two powers. If your fire is lit by a face on a screen, that face is your priest and your God. No, that is not spiritual life. That is reaction life. Now let us reframe persons and groups so that we may be free. No person is your enemy with power over your life. No party, no pundit, no movement. They are actors inside a universal belief in separation, as you and I have been. If you personify evil, you must hate a person to feel safe. If you impersonalize it, you see through the mask and you can love while you stand. Love does not mean agreement. Love means refusal to hate. Love means refusal to fear. Love means, I will not bless this appearance with power, nor curse the one wearing it with my hatred. Now tell me, if I must have an enemy to feel alive, am I living spiritually? No. I am living by the senses, by the nervous system, by borrowed voltage from another's fault. That is not life. That is an IV drip of antagonism. All right, you say, but some of what they do is wrong. Yes. Appearances of wrong parade daily. But listen to the law we have been quoting as if for the first time. There are no detached outer effects. All flows forth from consciousness. The only way you can be dominated by another's wrong is to accept that wrong as power. The only way you can be addicted to outrage is to accept the foe as your supplier. Break the contract. Withdraw the agreement. See the appearance as impersonal, a mask of fear, of ignorance, of separation, and then love. Not approval. Love. Love is law. Love is the recognition that the Christ capacity is present even where it is not yet practiced. Love says, I behold the image behind the mask. I refuse to make the mask my God. Do not fear that love will weaken your ethics. Love clarifies them. In the presence of impersonal love, you stop needing to punish with your emotions. You can say no without venom. You can oppose without an enemy. You can vote hard and speak plainly without selling your peace to the conflict. The fruits declare themselves quickly. The compulsion to share the incendiary article relaxes. The long argument thread you were composing dissolves into a measured sentence, or into silence. The device rests face down more often. At home, there is more tenderness, fewer corrections, more eye contact, a longer patience with a child's slow story. In the body, the belly unknots. In the night, sleep returns. In work, discernment improves, because attention is no longer leased to outrage. Don't forget this. When you stop needing an enemy, the news loses its hook. It cannot addict you through heat, because you are not shopping for heat. One power is enough. Establish God as the only cause. Let love be your only law, and you will find that you can engage strongly without being strung along. You will see faces and stories and policies, yes, but you will not see a power that can steal your government. And there isn't anybody within range of my voice who cannot do this. Start now. Refuse to hate. Refuse to fear. Look through the mask and love the capacity behind it. Then act as you must, clean, steady, unhurried. That is freedom. That is the end of outrage as your food. That is the beginning of life by the Spirit. Now we come to responsibility. Not the burden the world shouts at you, but the charge God gives you. Your first duty in a loud world is not to absorb the noise. It is to maintain a consciousness that blesses your world. If the headlines can move your peace, you have quietly accepted a second power, and you have abandoned your post. Who appointed you curator of every terror? Who ordained you to sip every grief until you are sick? Nobody. Nobody. Your post is here. The government of your own consciousness. The atmosphere you carry into rooms. The law you establish where your feet are. Let us translate activism into the language of spirit, so we do not mistake velocity for virtue. The deepest service is not the amplification of fear. It is the embodiment of peace. Not the spreading of reports, the spreading of presence. There are no detached outer effects. All flows forth from consciousness. Therefore, your range of holy responsibility is precise and powerful. The tone you set in your household this morning, the way you speak to the one you love when you are tired, the integrity of your work when no one is looking, your refusal to shade an invoice or exaggerate a result, your attention to the lonely name lingering at the edge of the meeting, your refusal to gossip though the room itches for it, your generosity, the penny, the nickel, the call, the ride, the meal cast upon the waters, your patience in traffic, your readiness to forgive before the apology arrives, your faithful prayer for the faces you meet by day. These are not small. These are lawful. They are within range of your voice, and in that range, you are sovereign under God. All right, you say, but if I don't stay updated, I'm irresponsible. No. Irresponsible is surrendering your inner government to a feed and calling it virtue. Irresponsible is carrying a storm into your kitchen and baptizing your children in it. Irresponsible is arriving at work with a jangling nervous system and naming it citizenship. A surgeon does not study while the scalpel is in the wound. A pilot does not scroll while on final approach. They prepare and then they perform, calmly. Be so. Be informed as a servant, not as a supplicant. Choose windows to learn what is needful. Refuse the drip that steals your authority. Measure responsibility not by the volume of news consumed, but by the peace you preserve and the usefulness you deliver where you are. Now tie this back to practice, so it is not theory. 2 minutes before news is not withdrawal. It is consecration. It is fitting yourself to be of use. I and the Father are one. Install that government. Then, if you read as one sent, not as one dragged. And watch the fruit. The action that is yours will appear. Write the letter. Give the gift. Stand in the meeting with a soft voice and a firm spine. Vote when it is time. Do your craft cleanly today. Your field expands invisibly. Rooms settle when you enter. Tempers cool. Decisions brighten. This is service. This is activism in spirit. Don't forget this. Your world is the one within range of your voice, your hands, your prayer. Establish one power there, and it will radiate lawfully. Greater is He that is within you than he that is in the world. One truth, lived, is sufficient. Govern your consciousness, bless your world, and let the noise pass without stealing your authority. That is responsibility. That is how God feeds the planet. Through the presence, you refuse to surrender. Now we do not study further. We test. We do not collect more thoughts. We embody one. For 7 days, we will practice a law and then report the fruits. One truth is enough. Choose one statement and live with it. Only one. I and the Father are one. Or, God is omnipotence. Or, Thy grace is sufficient. Don't choose 3. Don't rotate. 1. Now let us for a minute accept that statement as the government of your being for a week. All right. Here are the rules of the experiment. Simple, definite. First, no news of any kind before the 2-minute stillness. Not headlines, not email subject lines, not notifications, not a glance at a banner. 2 minutes first, device face down, body easy, breath natural, consenting inwardly to your one truth. Second, turn off all notifications for the week. You do not require a town crier to manage your peace. Third, set 2 windows to check the news, perhaps midday and late afternoon, and honor them. Outside those windows, be about your life, your work, your people. Fourth, the moment agitation appears, tight jaw, racing breath, heat in the belly, stop. Close the app. Re-enter 2 minutes of stillness with your one truth. Then, if peace returns, continue. If not, you are finished for that window. Now, you are not to judge yourself. You are to observe. What to watch? Sleep quality. Does it ease? Body tension. Neck, jaw, belly. Does it soften? The tone of your speech. Fewer barbs, more patience? The compulsion to check. Does permission replace the itch? The desire to argue. Does it loosen its grip? The ability to act constructively. When action is given, do you execute cleanly without heat? Watch your timing. Do you reach for the device less during meals, before bed, upon waking? Watch your family's weather. Do rooms settle more quickly around you? Keep a simple note each day, no essays, 3 lines will do. What changed in consciousness?
At the end of the week, report. Don't tell me your opinions. Tell me your fruits. Tell me if sleep returned. Tell me if the shoulders came down from the ears. Tell me if the need to win a thread weakened. Tell me if your work ran straighter, your tenderness lasted longer, your decisions brightened. Tell me the exact minute you stopped mid-scroll, breathed, and felt government return. That is proof. That is law in action.
You will be tempted to embellish. Don't. Truth does not require embroidery. It requires practice. And there isn't anybody within range of my voice who cannot do this. One truth for 7 days. 2 minutes before news. 2 windows. No notifications. Stop at agitation and re-enter stillness. Repeat. You will feel, in some degree, the transfer of power back to God within. The world may still parade its pictures. Markets up, markets down, tempests, triumphs. But you will not live as though there are 2 powers. Greater is he that is within you than he that is in the world. Prove it. Quietly, lawfully, for 7 days. Then come and tell me what changed in your consciousness. That will be enough. Yes. Yes. That will be enough.